There is a moment, a quiet, still moment, where everything you've ever known begins to dissolve. Not in chaos, not in confusion, but in clarity. Because for the first time, you stop asking how to change the world, and instead, you ask, what if the world was never separate from me at all? Breathe. But feel that for a second. That question alone shifts the axis of your reality, because everything begins with a false assumption. That you are in the world, and the world is out there. A place of objects, a timeline of events, a field of forces that you just try to survive in. But what if that was never true? What if the moment you stop believing in the separation, the whole illusion starts to collapse? What if the moment you realize this, everything changes instantly? Let me show you. Because you didn't click this video by accident. You were led here by something deeper. A whisper from within the field. A nudge from the intelligence behind all things. You might call it fate, synchronicity, the algorithm. But what you're really feeling is the quantum echo of your own readiness. Ready to awaken, ready to remember, ready to reclaim what was never truly lost. Let's begin. But pause. Narrow. Whites. Rune. Way. Every thought you've ever had. Every belief. Every reaction. Every emotion has one thing in common. You believed it came from you. But what if you was the very thing being constructed, moment by moment, by those thoughts? What if the self was a story, a hologram of memories, a dance of neurons, wearing the mask of me, and behind the mask, stillness, awareness, witness, nothing you can name, but everything you truly are. The world teaches you to build a self, to decorate it, to protect it, to feed it validation, but it never teaches you to see through it, to realize it's not the source of perception. It's a product of it, like a dream character, becoming aware it's dreaming. In that moment, reality cracks open. Time slows down, noise fades, and you see it. And you've been watching a movie called My Life. My Life. Projecting on a screen you forgot you were holding. The moment you realize this, everything changes. Not because your life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you're no longer fooled by the illusion that it was ever outside of you to begin with. Pause. Here's the paradox. You are not a person having a spiritual experience. You are consciousness, having the experience of being a person, and every problem you think you have, every doubt, every fear, every limitation, only exists inside the movie. But you? What? You are the light the movie plays through. You are the awareness the thoughts appear within. You are the space the world arises in, not the object bouncing around inside it. Take a deep breath here, because you are already beginning to feel it. That subtle pull, like reality is bending inward, like the walls between out there and in here are dissolving, and they are, because they never really existed. If this is resonating with you, if something deep in your being is stirring awake, subscribe, not because I told you to, but because your soul is ready for more of this remembering. You're not alone in this. Others are awakening too. Let's walk this path together. Now breathe. Because we're about to go deeper. What happens after you see through the illusion of the separate self? What happens after the veil lifts? You start to notice the way the universe responds differently. You say something out loud, and it echoes back. You think of someone, and they call. You feel a desire, and a path opens. Synchronicities aren't accidents. They're symptoms of alignment, proof that the observer and the observed were never two, that your state of being is the tuning fork of your entire experience. Nim. Wadi. But here's the twist. You don't need to force this awareness. You don't need to try harder, meditate longer, or fix every thought. The moment you relax into being, the moment you stop resisting what is, the shift begins. Because truth was never hiding. You were just distracted by the noise. You were looking through the lens, forgetting you are the lens itself. Pause. Now. You are the eye through which the universe sees itself. You are the breath through which it experiences form. And you are the moment where the illusion of time folds back into now. This is not poetry. This is physics, interwoven with perception. The quantum field responds not to action, but to frequency. And your frequency isn't set by your outer world. It's set by what you believe to be true. That's the secret. Belief isn't passive. It's generative. You believe, and the universe behaves accordingly. It's not magic. It's design. So the question is, what are you ready to believe right now? When the illusion of separation dissolves, you begin to feel the hum of the field. Subtle, persistent, magnetic. It's like falling into a quiet frequency you forgot you could access. And in that frequency, time stretches. Reality opens. The impossible begins to rearrange. You see, the world is not separate from you. It is responding to you, to your presence, to the pulse of your being. Let that sink in. Pause. Because this isn't about thinking. It's about resonance. About the body aligning with truth. Even your breath becomes sacred. Because with each inhale you remember, you're alive. With each exhale, you acknowledge your presence. And that presence is the force behind the collapse of timelines. When your inner state matches your outer desires, the field doesn't stall. It moves. It begins folding coincidences, people, opportunities, all into your now. Not by accident, by resonance. Tao, Gamo. You don't need to hustle, or ask permission, or prove your worth. You need to remember your signal, a steady hum, beyond effort, beyond story, beyond time. This hum vibrates through every cell. It creates coherence. It becomes the anchor for the new you, and the field aligns accordingly. Proof appears like gentle synchronicities, like the right word at the right moment, like someone texting you out of the blue, like ideas that feel like messages, not plans. You don't chase these signs. You recognize them, because they start to recognize you. Pause. You're not late. You're here. Right on cue. Because this video is not just information. It's a frequency handshake. A moment where your intention meets your becoming. If something inside you is resonating, Allow your body to feel it. Hold that vibration until your nervous system understands it's safe to shift. You don't have to perform. You just have to be. That's how everything changes. And now comes the deeper invitation to see again, not through the lens of doubt or separation or fear, but through clarity. Clarity that emerges when you dismantle the belief that you are less than infinite presence. That clarity is what reprograms you, changes how others treat you, changes the opportunities coming to you, changes what becomes possible. You are the author of your existence. Shift your frequency. The field responds. This moment is not before or after your breakthrough. It is the breakthrough, because the field doesn't respond to what you're chasing. It responds to what you are. So breathe. Now feel it. You are changed now. It isn't the world that changes first. It's you. Not in some massive external shift, but in the subtlest, quietest, invisible surrender. You stop chasing what was never real and start choosing what always was. The timeline begins to bend, not because you forced it, but because you stopped doubting the one that was waiting. When you pause long enough to see the illusion, you gain access to the architect behind it. And the architect is you. The you that has always known. The you that has always watched. The you behind the panic, the performance, the proving. Suddenly, you stop asking if you're doing it right and begin asking if you ever needed to do it at all. And in that moment, time rewrites itself, because time has always obeyed awareness, not the other way around. You thought you were running out of time, but really, time was waiting for you to look up, waiting for you to look in, waiting for you to return to the center where everything changes, because you decided to see differently. Quantum change doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock or shout. It slips in like a whisper in the silence and rearranges the room from inside your breath. The world around you begins to match what you're no longer resisting. Not because the world improved, but because you stopped confirming the old one with your frequency. It only seemed like the world was cruel, cold, or stuck. That was the mirror. That was the feedback loop. Every time you called yourself behind, you activated a delay. Every time you declared it too late, you locked the gate. But now, you've stopped identifying with the version that had no key, because the key was always in your perception. And when perception purifies, the field responds. You don't have to fix the entire world. You just have to stop repeating the lens that kept recreating the same day. Because the moment you become aware, you become free. And the moment you become free, you become powerful. Not through effort, through energetic decision. A decision to stop watching reality from fear and start directing it from alignment. This is not a new teaching. It's ancient, encoded into spiritual texts, whispered through sacred geometry, scattered in the margins of holy books. It is the secret passed from mystic to mystic, teacher to initiate, soul to soul. You were never waiting on a miracle. You were waiting on a moment. And this is that moment. The one where you remember who you are and why you came, not to survive reality, but to shape it, to bend the echo of time with the strength of your yes, to rise without asking permission, to walk as if it's already yours, because it is. Pause. Pile. Inhale. Dip. Feel it. Everything you were seeking was seeking your decision to arrive. You are not separate from the power. You are not late to the shift. You are the shift. And now that you know, you can never unknow. So walk, move, speak, why, as one who has already changed. And the universe will rearrange itself to follow your lead. There comes a moment when you stop chasing alignment and you start embodying it. No more wondering if you're doing enough. No more checking the clock of your life to see how far behind you've fallen, because suddenly you realize there is no clock, only the unfolding, only the blooming, only the divine timing of your remembering. The moment you stop asking, "Is it happening yet?" and instead declare, "It's already in motion," is the moment the universe switches timelines, because the field doesn't obey doubt. It obeys the energetic signature of certainty, not the forced kind, not the loud kind, but the kind that hums like a tuning fork in the center of your being. This is the power of energetic integrity, where your words, your thoughts, your nervous system, and your frequency all say the same thing. Yes, I'm ready. I trust. It's done. From this state, you stop negotiating with the past. You stop broadcasting the frequency of almost and begin emitting the signal of now. And reality listens. It always has. You were just too distracted by the noise to hear its response. But now, the signal is clean, and with it comes clarity, momentum, peace. Passion, the kind of peace that isn't passive, but magnetic, because peace is not the absence of action. It's the presence of alignment, and alignment activates doors you didn't know were waiting. Some call it luck, some call it grace, but you'll call it natural, because for you, it will be. No more fighting to prove, no more wrestling with reality like it's something outside of you. It's not. It's inside your gaze. It lives in your attention. It grows where your belief flows. So let me remind you, gently, every time you choose to believe in the timeline where it's already done, you collapse, delay. You shorten the path. You shift the mirror. The outer reflects the inner, not the other way around. If it hasn't moved yet, it's not because you're blocked. It's because a part of you hasn't claimed it yet. And now, you will. Not by shouting, not by begging, but by simply becoming the frequency it was waiting for. Because when you become the version of you who doesn't question the blessing has no reason to delay. This is how quantum alignment works. And no, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. Present enough to stop arguing for your limitations. Present enough to stop telling stories that keep you in pause. Present enough to ask, what does the version of me, who has already shifted, do next? And then do that. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. Because your reality is waiting to take its cue from the you decide to become. And when that moment happens, everything changes. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. Let yourself pause here. Inhale, datumpi. Exhale, dat. Feel the alignment in your body. Let your cells memorize it. You don't need to understand how. You just need to know it's happening. Right now. With every breath. With every word. With every choice to believe in the version of you who already arrived. What if the very thing you thought was delay was actually preparation? Not punishment. Not silence. Not the universe ignoring your prayers, but the universe tuning you for what's already en route. There is a language the field speaks. It's not English. It's not a mantra. It's not even thought. It's frequency. It's the hum beneath the hum. The signal that never lies. And whether you realize it or not, you've been transmitting something every day. So ask yourself gently, have I been transmitting trust or tension? Have I been vibrating in expectation or exhaustion? Have I been waiting or preparing? Because when you're preparing, you clean your inner space. You stop renting rooms in your mind to stories that don't match where you're going. You stop treating your future as something separate from you. You start living as if it's already arriving, because it is, but it cannot meet you until you become meetable. The frequency doesn't chase. It responds. It mirrors. It matches. It magnifies the clearest signal in the room. And when that signal is you, when your body becomes the lighthouse, when your belief stops flickering, the field moves. Not by force, by law. Ash. Divine law. Quantum law. The law of AAS, within, so without. Pause here. Let that land in your bones. You don't have to beg. You don't have to plead. You just have to become the evidence of the reality you say you believe in. And the moment you do, doors swing open that logic can't explain. People show up that you didn't have to chase. Ideas download that shift your entire trajectory. And most of all, you feel safe in your own becoming. You stop fearing the unknown. You stop bargaining with the universe. You start trusting that you are the event you've been waiting for. The activation, the alignment, the answer. Not because you're special, but because you're sovereign. Because when you move from fear to embodiment, you no longer ask, when? You whisper, I'm ready. And the field replies, we've been waiting for this version of you. That's all it ever needed. Not your hustle, not your perfection, just your resonance, your presence, your surrender. So what happens next? You watch as life reorganizes itself around your signal, not because you forced it to, but because you remembered who you were, and you held that frequency long enough for the world to catch up. There's something sacred about the moment you stop searching. When your breath softens, your shoulders drop, and your inner voice says, I'm already there. You don't need more proof. You don't need to see it in the mirror of the world. Because something deeper inside you knows. You've crossed the threshold. That's when real manifestation begins. Not in the grasping, not in the desperation, but in the quiet conviction that it's all already rearranging in your favor. Not because you're lucky, not because you tricked the universe, but because you finally stopped resisting the version of you that was always ready. This isn't just mindset. It's embodiment. It's the moment you become the reality, before it becomes physical. It's the inner shift that precedes all outer shifts. It's when the quantum field, God, divine order, call it what you will, well, says yes. Because you said yes first. You stopped questioning the timing. You stopped begging for signs. You became the sign. And now the world will respond accordingly. You'll start to notice once the way synchronicity bends around your energy, the way new opportunities don't need to be chased. They appear. You'll recognize people, conversations, ideas that feel like they've been waiting for you all along. And in those moments, you won't say, "Wow, what a coincidence." You'll smile and say, "Of course, because this was always waiting for you. It was just waiting for you to stop waiting, to stop playing small, to stop living like the miracle was anywhere but inside you." So now you walk differently, not with arrogance, but with alignment, not with pride, but with presence, not with entitlement, but with energetic certainty that what's meant for you is already yours, because it's not about attracting anymore, it's about matching. And now, you do. You are the frequency. You are the access point. You are the portal through which abundance flows. Let this video be your anchor. Not something you just listen to once, but something you become. Let it live in your nervous system. Let it echo in your choices. Let it whisper in the moments you forget. You were never behind. You were being prepared. You were never blocked. You were being tuned. You were never lost. You were becoming precise. And now, the signal is clear. The field is listening. And everything you thought was distant is already standing at your door. Open it with grace, with power, with full permission to receive everything that remembers your name. Because this is your moment. Not the moment you waited for, but the moment you became. The moment you realized this entire time you were the one. And now that you know, everything changes instantly.